Welcome to the Built to Scale series Outside Marketing, bringing you quick, actionable episodes to help move your business forward. Here's your host, Craig Severinsen.
What is up, everybody, and welcome to episode 24 of Outside Marketing, the show where we answer the question, how do you build a thriving business without sacrificing your personal life? And today we're going to be talking about how do you create serendipitous sales, those type of sales where you get on the phone with somebody or you get into a consultation, they say, holy cow, how did you know that I needed this service? Let's get going. Like those type of sales that just feel like, oh my goodness, fate intervened, and it's time to go. That's what we're going to be talking about. And as always, if you're enjoying this, check out builttoscalehq.com. That's where you can listen to the full podcast, Built to Scale, as well as see how you can work with me to implement the foundations and systems in your business to grow and scale past just you. So really cool. So this is on my mind because yesterday I had a phone call with a highly successful entrepreneur, and we met through my podcast, Built to Scale, and he wanted to be on the show because he's launching his book. And we were talking, and it came out that I also am in the middle of writing my book. And so he's like, holy cow, let's get on the phone and talk about this, completely separate. I'd love to hear about what you're doing and see if I can help at all. And I was like, okay, yeah, sure. That's a really, nice, nice offer. But I knew he was a really busy guy, and, I wasn't going to push it. And as soon as the interview for the podcast was over, he's like, okay, I didn't forget. Let's get you on the calendar. I want to talk to you about this book. And I was like, wow, cool. Okay. So he's being really proactive with it. So I didn't feel as bad taking his time. So I went with it, and I got on the phone with him yesterday. And I got to tell you, it was one of the most generous conversations I've ever had. He just seriously wanted to get on the call with me and tell me about his process, the things that he'd been doing, answering any of my questions. He's like two or three steps ahead of me. So it was really nice to kind of see this is what he's doing, and this is some things that maybe I could implement as well. And we just had a really good conversation in general about business, about life, about writing a book, and it was great. Just a great bond and connection was made with him. And he said, "Hey, here's some people I want to introduce you to." I said, "Here's some people I want to introduce you to," and it was just this mutually beneficial conversation. And it got me thinking that every time that I've had a serendipitous sales moment is those times in my business where I've been 100% more concerned about building relationships than I was about making a sale. And when you get really down to it, when you're really focused on helping somebody else win and helping them in ways that are free, right? Like you're not bending over backwards to give your services away for free, but if you have the opportunity to share some advice or to point them in the right direction, to be willing to do that is how you create these serendipitous sales moments. And I think that they happen in two ways. Number one is that if you're constantly getting on the phone, networking, talking to people, you're talking to your target audience, you've got an offer they need. They may not be aware that they need it yet, but by getting on the phone consistently with these people, of course it's going to be serendipitous. It's serendipitous to them because they're not maybe actively aware of the need to solve the problem. But to you, it's manufactured, right? Because you're being consistent in your outreach and your marketing and your networking. The other way it's serendipitous, though, the second way, is when you get on conversations like I did yesterday, you start making connections of like, hey, tell me a little bit more about what you do. Let's really get deep into it. Oh my goodness, that reminds me of a friend. That reminds me of somebody I think you need to meet. And you start making these connections that are serendipitous. So I had a sale with one of the biggest companies, one of the biggest people I've ever worked with. And this was actually not that long ago, just a few days. And how did I meet that person was from a warm referral from a client, right? So how do you get those serendipitous, oh my goodness, I'm ready to go sales? Relationships, relationships, relationships. So I think when we talk about this, people start getting all up in their heads about, oh my goodness, I hate chit chat, or a common thing that's going on right now, and it's even got a term to it. I love how it's like the vernacular is catching up here. They're calling it pitch slapping, right? And we've all experienced this. Maybe you've tried it before. Maybe you've received these messages before, and they are from people who they connect with you, and then immediately pitch their services, right? Um, how do we avoid those things, right? How do we avoid not doing those? And I think number one, man, this is a tough one because look, if you're getting upset because somebody's pitching you, that says a little bit more about you than it does about them. Okay, so like if I'm driving in traffic and someone cuts me off, sometimes I can get really upset about it, and other times I just make a little bit more space. The act of cutting me off is the same. It's rude either way. It's dangerous either way. How I respond to it says more about me than it does about them, right? If you're a business owner and you can't handle being pitched, I would wonder how you handle pitching, right? Like, so that's number one. Is like, let's not get so bent out of shape about it. But so that's from the recipient end. Let's talk about the person pitching though. And the reason I say that recipient end is because no matter how you look at it as a business owner, you've got to be bold. You're talking to strangers, right? And that doesn't mean you have to pitch them cold right away, but you got to be a little bit bold about, hey, I've got something valuable. You're in my target audience. Let's build a relationship. I'm a stranger. I'm reaching out to you. That's bold. And so you've got to be a little bit bold. Um, but that doesn't mean you got to pitch right away. And so I think the key is that you've got to come at this always, always, always from a viewpoint of I want to build a relationship and I want to provide value. And I've said this 100 times. I'll say it again. Value occurs in implementation. So how do you provide value in your outreach, in your content? It's by inspiring, motivating, encouraging people to take action. And that includes hiring you, right? So appropriate encouragement does not mean, hey, we just connected, buy my stuff, right? Um, what it means though is that maybe you reach out and say, hey, I don't know you, but I'd like to get to know you. Do you want to jump on a call? I don't know you, but I'd like to. I see you're in this industry. I've got a webinar coming up. Would you like to check out the webinar? Right? Um, really helpful comments that are non-assumptive. Okay, so here's another mindset shift around that idea of being non-assumptive, because when you assume that they're going to buy your services, that's where we get upset, right? That's where we feel like, oh my goodness, you don't even know me and you're pitching me your stuff, right? Because as much as I said, how you respond is on you more than them, it is annoying to get pitched right away, right? It's like you don't even know me and you're pitching me, right? I'm just saying that if you're getting all bent out of shape about being pitched, you need to look at your own inward self and say, why am I letting this get to me? Right? That doesn't mean it's not annoying, because it can be annoying. But here's the thing is you look at your business and making a sale, especially if you're in the B2B space, right? An agency space, consulting space, you're a doctor. A doctor, it's against the law for them to prescribe anything if they haven't diagnosed the patient. Why? Because it's dangerous. If I prescribe something to you and it's not the right thing, or I don't know that you've got an allergy, man, that could go really wrong, even life threatening, right? It's the same though as a B2B service provider, or when you're selling your services, you've got to act and have the mindset of a doctor. I cannot make an offer to you until I know that I can solve the problem. Because to make an offer without knowing I can solve the problem is immoral. It could do more damage than good if you're not ready for the work, if your business isn't the right fit for the work, right? I could take your money and not get results, which would not be good for either party. I get bad word of mouth. You don't get the results and you're out the money, right? So have that idea of I don't make an offer unless I diagnose. Let me create opportunities to be able to diagnose by getting to know them, by building a relationship, right? When you have that mindset, your outreach will change. And then the quality of your invitations really does matter, right? If you're trying to build relationships and get people off the phone off cold DMs, that's tough. That's really hard. But if you've, this is why I love podcasts and live shows, especially if you have guests that come on, because it's a great way to invite people to get to know you, to provide value by giving them some exposure, and to create conversation and dialogue that could lead to sales or referrals or whatever it is, right? Like it's that relationship building aspect makes it super easy. So webinars, presentations, podcasts, YouTube shows, those ideas, invitations to networking events, if you're more of like a live person, like networking events, going to conferences. Um, those events, those tactics are a lot easier to shift over to a relationship building conversation than like a cold email or a cold phone call or a cold email, right? Did I say email? I meant DM, right? Cold DM. So what is the quality of tactic that you're trying to use? Now, I'm not dissing on cold outreach, because here's the thing. We need cold outreach. And when we look at like marketing tactics, you've got brand builders, you've got lead gen and nurturing, and you've got to have some direct outreach to take control of your business and get it moving forward at the rate you want it to move forward at, right? Paid ads, very similar idea there, right? How are you getting into your business to take control of those leads and get things going? Okay, I went on big tangents there. I didn't even follow. I write notes like bullet points out for this. I didn't even follow those bullet points because I just went on tangents here. I think, if we boil this down, how do you create serendipitous leads? Number one, you talk as often as you can to your ideal clients. And number two, be relationship focused, really more concerned about how can I network with this person, get to know them, and build a relationship more than you are about making sales, because those relationships will pay dividends over years. Being really sales oriented pays dividends, maybe in a sale, maybe not, right? Like really quickly. Okay, that's what I got for you. I got to get back to my workout. I got here a little bit late. And so I'm in the middle of my cardio day. Tomorrow's a crisscross day. So I got to get back to that. But I'm really excited because it's getting warm. Spring is springing. it's turning green, right? But one problem is, as it gets warmer, more people are showing up. So it's weird. I see people walking past me in front of me, and I'm talking to the camera. So filming a live show in public. Hopefully, we had that truck show up one day. Here comes a car right now. Hopefully, it doesn't get too crowded as the summer and the warm hits. Anyways, until next time, take some fast focus, imperfect action. I believe in you. I got your back. It's really good to see you guys, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Thanks for joining us. To check out all the Built to Scale episodes and to see how Craig can help you in your business, go to builttoscalehq.com.